You lived through these songs. You know them by heart. But here's what you don't know. Maurice White built September while Parkinson's ate his nervous system in silence. Bernard Edwards collapsed on stage in Tokyo, then died in his hotel room hours later. And Rudy Lewis never lived to hear Under the Boardwalk on the radio. He was already dead when they recorded it with a replacement singer. These were the brightest lights in music. They also paid the darkest prices. This is the story of triumph and catastrophe happening at the exact same moment. September by Earth, Wind & Fire, released in 1978. Maurice White possessed a 3.5 octave range and a kalimba thumb that could architect 10-piece ensembles blending jazz, R&B, and something spiritual. The world heard joy. What they didn't hear was the tremor beginning in his hands. Parkinson's disease had already started its slow theft while Body climbed the charts. White kept it hidden for over a decade, refusing to let the shining image crack. The Badia placeholder lyric, the one Allie Willis begged him to change, stayed because White cared only about feeling now. His body was already negotiating with time. 12. Le Freak by Chic, 1977. Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards were the highest paid session team of their era, inventing the chucking guitar and rhythmic precision that transformed disco into architecture. The song was born from rage, refused entry to Studio 54 on New Year's Eve. They went home and recorded Fury. But like Maurice White's hidden diagnosis, success masked a different kind of poison. Bernard Edwards died of pneumonia at 43 in 1996, collapsing on stage in Tokyo and being revived just to finish the set. Spinning all around, feel the river. Nile found him silent in a hotel room the next morning, his Music Man bass still waiting to be played. 11. Super Freak by Rick James, 1981. James mastered the punk-funk sound at Record Plant, custom building a riff so distinctive that decades later, MC Hammer would win the only Grammy James ever received. She's a super freak, she's super freaky. But during those sessions, James maintained a $10,000 a week cocaine habit and worked 48-hour marathons while chronic back pain screamed through his body. Yeah. He masked it all. On August 6, 2004, he was found dead at 56, 9 different drugs in his system, his final years spent walking with a cane and wearing a pacemaker, a stark contrast to the red leather boots and high-energy choreography of 1981. She's a very special girl. From her head down to her toe. The Grammy Hall of Fame inducted Super Freak in 2024, 20 years after he died. 10, Just the Two of Us by Grover Washington Jr. featuring Bill Withers, 1981. Bill Withers possessed a common man baritone so resonant that he secured gold despite being uncredited on the original cover. Just the two of us, you and I. But during this peak, Withers faced a legal standoff with Columbia Records executives demanding Elvis covers. I hear the crystal raindrops. He chose to walk away entirely. Permanent retirement to avoid the plastic. Grover Washington Jr. collapsed from a massive heart attack in the green room at Rockefeller Center on December 17, 1999, immediately after performing this song for the early show. His signature black nickel-plated saxophone remained in the studio while he was rushed to St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 56. 9. More Bounce to the Ounce by Zapp, 1980. Roger Troutman pioneered the Golden Throat talk box, connecting a Yamaha synthesizer to a surgical tube to create the singing robot sound that defined West Coast G-Funk. But success meant shouldering the financial burden of Troutman Enterprises, a recording studio, construction company, and housing development that eventually faced Chapter 11 bankruptcy. On April 25, 1999, Larry Troutman shot Roger several times outside their Northwest Dayton studio before committing suicide in a nearby car. The dispute was over business management. Roger was found face down in a hammock behind the studio, just feet from the technology he revolutionized.
I believe the party's over there.
Like Bernard Edward Sutton's Collapse, this was the price of building an empire with family. 8. Soul Finger by the Bar-Kays, 1967. The Bar-Kays were hand-selected by Otis Redding to be his permanent touring band and primary session group for Stax Records. But success meant grueling one-nighters in a twin-engine Beechcraft, flying through heavy fog and freezing conditions across the Midwest. On December 10, 1967, 4 miles from the runway at Truax Field in Madison, Wisconsin, the plane crashed into the icy waters of Lake Monona. Otis Redding and 4 band members died. Trumpeter Ben Cauley survived by unbuckling his seatbelt and clutching a seat cushion in 35-degree water. Bassist James Alexander was on a different flight because the plane only sat 7. Soul Finger peaked at number 17, but the band's follow-up success occurred entirely after the majority of the original lineup was buried. 7. Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters, 1964. Rudy Lewis possessed a 4-octave range and gospel-trained delivery that allowed the Drifters to transition from doo-wop to sophisticated soul. But during the lead-up to this session, Lewis suffered from binge-eating disorders, severe anxiety, and self-medicated to manage the pressure of being the group's focal point. On May 20th, 1964, the night before the scheduled recording, Rudy Lewis was found dead in a Harlem hotel room at 27. Under the boardwalk. The cause was cited as accidental drug overdose or asphyxiation. Because the studio was already booked, former lead singer Johnny Moore was frantically called in. The final hit record features Moore's vocals, but the arrangement was specifically transposed to fit Rudy Lewis's unique register. Baby, that's where I'll be. Under the Boardwalk rose to number 4 on August 22nd, 1964, while Lewis lay in an unmarked grave. 6. I'll Be Around by the Spinners, 1972. Philippe Wynne delivered a one-take improvised vocal coda showcasing a gospel-inflected falsetto that transformed the track into the first million-selling hit for the Atlantic-era Spinners. During the Sigma Sound sessions, the group faced pressure from being dropped by Motown and reinventing themselves under Tom Bell.
Whenever you call me, I'll be there. Whenever...
Wynn began a period of intense, erratic performance energy that masked deep-seated psychological exhaustion and a refusal to rest. On July 14, 1984, while performing at a nightclub in Oakland, California, Philippe Wynn suffered a massive heart attack on stage and collapsed in front of the audience, dying the following morning at 43. He was wearing his signature oversized stage glasses and elaborate sequins when his heart failed. I'll Be Around was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2017, decades after Wynn died in relative obscurity. 5. Boogie Nights by Heatwave, 1978. Johnny Wilder Jr. possessed a multi-octave range and unlimited falsetto that allowed him to layer his own backing vocals, creating the wall of sound disco harmony defining the Heatwave sound. During the 1979 Hot Property Tour, following this song's success, Wilder maintained a grueling international schedule despite increasing physical exhaustion and the pressure of being the primary producer. On February 24, 1979, at the height of Heatwave's fame, a van struck Wilder's car in his hometown of Dayton, Ohio, snapping his neck and leaving him paralyzed from the neck down at 29. Like Gwen Dickey's spinal injury, Wilder recorded his final vocal contributions lying flat on his back in a hospital bed, using a specially positioned microphone because he no longer had the lung capacity to stand. Boogie Nights remains a permanent fixture of global disco playlists, while Wilder spent the remaining 27 years of his life in a wheelchair. 4. Car Wash by Royce, 1976. Gwen Dickey's multi-octave range and honey-coated delivery allowed Royce to pivot from a backing band for Edwin Starr to a standalone powerhouse, securing the 1977 Grammy for Best Motion Picture Score.
This ain't no place to be if you plan on being a star. Let me tell you it's all.
During the peak of the Car Wash era, Dickey suffered a near-fatal fall from a stage in 1976 that resulted in a broken back. She performed subsequent world tour dates, strapped into a restrictive medical brace and heavily medicated. In 1980, at the height of the group's international fame, Dickey abruptly quit following internal power struggles and exhaustion, effectively ending the classic lineup's hit-making era, just as disco collapsed.
Always cool. And the boss don't mind sometimes if you.
She performed the group's final televised appearances, seated in a chair or leaning against a stool, hidden by her costume to conceal her permanent spinal injuries. Car Wash remains a permanent fixture of global pop culture, while Dickey lives with lifelong physical consequences. 3. If You Don't Know Me By Now by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, 1972.
Our own funny moves.
Teddy Pendergrass possessed a baritone range so powerful that Gamble and Huff shifted the group's focus from Harold Melvin to Pendergrass's lead vocals to anchor the Philly soul sound. During the 1972 sessions at Sigma Sound Studios, Pendergrass was forced into a grueling church-style recording process, where he had to scream certain passages repeatedly to achieve the raw, gravelly texture demanded by producers.
And me, like I trust in you.
On March 18, 1982, at the peak of his solo superstardom, Pendergrass's Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit hit a guardrail and two trees on Lincoln Drive in Philadelphia, resulting in a spinal cord injury that caused permanent paralysis.
Our own funny moves, I've got mine.
Pendergrass recorded his vocals for this song in a single take while standing in the dark, a physical contrast to his later years performing from a custom-built motorized wheelchair.
Like I trust in you, as long as we've been together.
Simply Red's 1989 cover finally won the Grammy for Best R&B Song, an award Pendergrass never won. 2. Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes, 1965. Florence Ballard's booming vocal power led to the group's first #1 hits and established the Motown sound that rivaled the Beatles in 1964. During the recording of this song, Ballard was forced into a standardized uniform of choreography and poise while battling depression and resentment over her displacement as the group's lead singer. Following her 1967 firing from the group, Ballard died of a coronary thrombosis at 32 in February 1976 while living on welfare in a Detroit housing project. Ballard was buried in the same gold sequin dress she wore for her final performance with the Supremes at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Stop in the Name of Love remains a global anthem of the Motown era. Yet Ballard's estate was so depleted at her death that Diana Ross reportedly paid for the funeral expenses. 1. Papa Was a Rolling Stone by The Temptations, 1972. The Temptations' vocal blend utilized a 3-producer power structure at Motown, with Norman Whitfield using a 12-minute cinematic arrangement to showcase Dennis Edwards' gritty, church-inflected lead vocal against a haunting 3-note bass line.
In the name of the Lord, Mama, just hold her head and say.
During the recording of this song, Edwards was forced by Whitfield to sing the opening line dozens of times to capture a specific tone of infuriated grief, despite Edwards' personal trauma regarding his own father's death occurring on that exact date, September 3rd.
Hey, Mama, folks say Papa never was much on.
Paul Williams, the group's original choreographer and foundational member, was forced to retire due to sickle cell anemia and alcoholism before dying of a self-inflicted gunshot wound in an alley on 14th Street, just blocks from Motown's headquarters, as the song climbed the charts. The sessions were marked by a physical confrontation where Edwards attempted to hit Whitfield with a studio chair because the producer intentionally provoked his emotional instability to get the perfect take.
Call himself a jack of all trades. Tell me, is that what's it Papa doing?
Papa Was a Rolling Stone won 3 Grammy Awards in 1973, making it the first Grammy win for both the group and the Motown label. A milestone reached only after the original lineup had been fractured by illness, internal lawsuits, and death.